They called it protocol, but at the gate of Flight 447, a 16-year-old girl sat in her seat, clutching her chest, each breath shorter than the last. And that same protocol, the rules they swore kept everyone safe, was about to take away the one thing that could keep her alive. In less than a minute she'd be gasping for air, and the whole cabin would be watching. Start low and calm on, they called it protocol, pause for suspense. Build a hint of urgency on 16-year-old girl, let shorter than the last, drag slightly to mirror her breathing. Slow, deliberate wait on take away the one thing, then sharpen and drop tone on keep her alive. Leave a brief silence before, in less than a minute, to let tension sink in. Delta Flight 447 sat at the gate, engines humming softly, passengers strapped in for a smooth trip from New York to Los Angeles. In 23F, Maya Thompson's knuckles were white around a small blue inhaler, her only lifeline. Her dark eyes scanned the cabin, already glossed with panic, her breaths coming in uneven bursts. Around her, the quiet shuffle of seatbelts clicking, overhead bins closing, polite conversations. But in Maya's chest, it was a countdown. Every inhale felt thinner, weaker. Every exhale left her more desperate than the last. And somewhere just a few rows away, the person who would decide if she lived or not was already watching her. Deliver the opening line. Delta Flight 447 sat at the gate, steady and neutral like an establishing shot. Add a touch of tension as you say, small blue inhaler, her only lifeline. Slow down on countdown, and lower your tone. On decide if she lived or not, make your voice colder, letting the weight of the moment hang before moving forward. Without warning, a shadow fell over her seat. A firm hand reached down and tore the inhaler from her grip. "Ma'am," Janet Morrison's voice cut through the low cabin chatter, sharp and certain, "that's not real medicine. You can't bring street drugs on this plane." Maya's breath hitched, her chest tightening even more. Her eyes shimmered with panic. "Please," she managed, barely above a whisper. "I can't breathe without it." Janet held the inhaler high as if presenting evidence to a jury. A faint smirk touched her lips. "Next, you'll tell me this candy is chemotherapy." Start with a sudden shift in tone 4 without warning, so it feels like an intrusion. Make Janet's first line sharp and clipped, with no compassion. For Maya's response, soften your volume, draw out the word please, and let the airiness in your voice mirror her struggle. On Janet's last line, give it a dismissive bite, letting the cruelty land before moving forward. Screens lit up across the cabin as passengers raised their phones, the soft clicks of cameras mixing with the hum of the engines. A silver medical bracelet on Maya's wrist caught the light, proof of her condition glinting in plain sight. "That's fake," Janet scoffed, her voice carrying just enough to make sure the rows ahead could hear. Somewhere behind them, the quiet ping of a live stream going active broke the air, comments already scrolling faster than they could be read. In row 20, a retired doctor pushed himself up, concern etched on his face. "Sir, sit down," Janet snapped, slicing through the growing murmur of voices. Start with a slow, observational tone on screens lit up, making it feel like the audience is witnessing this in real time. Emphasize the flash of the bracelet with a slight pause. Deliver, "That's fake," with a dismissive bite, then give comments already scrolling, a quick, urgent rhythm. Lower your tone but keep it sharp on "Sir, sit down," as if cutting off any chance of defiance. Janet leaned in just enough for her shadow to fall over Maya. "Either the medicine goes in the trash," she let the words hang in the air like a blade, "or you get off my plane." Every sound in the cabin seemed to vanish, replaced by the uneven rise and fall of Maya's breathing. A shallow inhale, a trembling exhale, each one sharper than the last. From somewhere in her lap, the faint vibration of her phone broke the silence. The screen lit up. "That. Deliver either the medicine goes in the trash," slowly with a short pause before finishing the sentence. "So, or you get off my plane," lands like a final blow. Let the silence after feel heavy. For Maya's breathing, lower your voice and slow the rhythm to mimic the sound. On "Dad," make it quick, sharp and isolated, almost like a jump in the quiet. Her fingers trembled as she swiped the screen, lifting the phone just enough to her ear. "Dad." The word was barely more than a breath. "Maya," the voice on the other end was steady, powerful, impossible to ignore. "Put me on speaker." She tapped the button and his voice filled the cabin, deep, deliberate, carrying the weight of authority. "This is Captain Marcus Thompson, Chief of Flight Operations for Delta Airlines. You're denying my daughter her prescribed medication?" Every passenger heard it. Every phone recording caught the moment Janet's confident posture faltered, her face draining of color like the life had been pulled from it. Delivered Dad, in a fragile, breathy tone. For the captain's lines, slow your pace, deepen your voice and make each word feel unshakable. On, my daughter, drop your tone and pause slightly after, letting the emphasis sink in. When describing Janet's reaction, lower your volume slightly, as if letting the audience observe the shift in real time. Do you want me to keep this same cinematic style going straight into segment 7, countdown to confrontation so the momentum never breaks? You said. Segment KO 7 DYRHAISS KO V same banana ha instruction KO follow crow 7. Countdown to confrontation, 2:01 to 2:20, purpose, build anticipation for his arrival. Line, return her medication. I'll be there in 18 minutes. How? Janet stammered. I'm in Terminal 4. Gate 23. I landed 12 minutes ago. The sound of footsteps on the jet bridge grew louder. Delivery, slow build, let the footsteps line be a turning point. ChatGPT said. Return her medication. The captain's voice didn't rise, but it carried an authority that filled every corner of the cabin. I'll be there in 18 minutes. Janet blinked, her mouth dry. How? I'm in Terminal 4. Gate 23. I landed 12 minutes ago. The words seemed to freeze the air. Then, soft at first, almost distant, the muffled thud of footsteps began echoing down the jet bridge. Each step grew sharper, closer, until it was all anyone could hear. Deliver, return her medication, slow and steady, no anger, just unshakable control. On 18 minutes, make it precise, almost surgical. Let Janet's how sound small and rattled. For the footsteps, slow your pacing, lowering your tone so each word matches the growing sound, treating it as the moment tension shifts from words to imminent action. He stepped into the cabin, tall, broad-shouldered, the Delta uniform sharp against the glow of the entryway lights. His presence hit like a storm breaking over still water, silent but impossible to ignore. His eyes found Maya first. The hard edges in his face softened. Maya, how do you feel? Her lips curled into the faintest smile. Better, now. Then his gaze shifted, locking on Janet with the precision of a targeting beam. His voice dropped into something colder, more deliberate. You endangered a minor. You assumed. You ignored a doctor. And you did it. He paused just long enough to let the weight settle, live, to over 1 million viewers. When describing his entrance, slow your pace, give it a cinematic reveal. Soften your tone for Maya, how do you feel? And let her better, now feel like a breath of relief. On his accusations, keep steady eye contact with an invisible Janet, slowing slightly on each charge. Let over 1 million viewers land with finality before holding a short silence. His voice was ice, controlled, deliberate, and leaving no room for misunderstanding. You have 60 seconds. Resign now with a neutral reference, or be fired, blacklisted from every major airline, and face criminal charges for endangering a minor. No one in the cabin moved. Phones hovered in the air, catching every second, every breath. Janet's eyes darted from passenger to passenger, searching for a lifeline that wasn't there. I resign. She reached for her chest, fingers trembling as she unpinned her flight attendant wings. Her badge came next, both dropping into his open hand with a soft, final clink. Without a word, he stepped aside as the TSA agents moved in, escorting her down the aisle and out the aircraft door. Deliver the ultimatum in a cold, steady tone. No raised voice, just precision. Pause slightly after 60 seconds, and again before be fired, to let the weight sink in. Keep I resign soft and broken, then let the sound of the clink replace words for impact. For her exit, slow your pacing so it feels like the whole cabin is watching her career disappear in real time. The cabin erupted in applause, relief, vindication, and something that felt like justice. But this was only the beginning. Because 6 months later, Maya Thompson wouldn't just be a passenger. She'd be standing before Congress, revealing something that would shake the airline industry to its core. Let the applause line carry a warm but brief uplift, then shift tone to serious on, this was only the beginning. Pause after 6 months later for suspense. Drop your voice lower, slower and sharper on shake the airline industry to its core, letting it linger in the air before you cut to black.